Hello, it's Lee Cassidy from Tactile Technology, and this is our Enterprise Wednesday. So I normally talk about things that are focused at larger organizations that have challenges based on scale and volume of information and things. So today what we're going to talk about is Office 365. So a lot of people have moved away from running their own on-premise Exchange servers and email platforms and moved towards using Office 365 as their primary email platform, but also adopted things like the use of OneDrive for personal folders, also using the different technologies that Microsoft Office 365 provides, like Teams for communication, and also the mechanisms to store files such as SharePoint and also groups. So a lot of people are utilizing this to keep all their information and collaborating either internally or externally. But one of the issues is, what happens if that data is accidentally deleted by one of your users? Do they delete a folder, they delete a large number of emails or something accidentally, and they can't recover them? What if they are accidentally corrupted in some way? Or potentially, as we've seen a lot of it at the moment, there's a ransomware activity where all of that, the attachments from those files, and also maybe all of the email is encrypted as well, so you can't access it. Also, potentially, you could have someone go in and delete all of your user population as well. So imagine if you had 4,000 users or more, and someone deletes all of the users using an admin rights that they get from you using some kind of phishing type activity. So there are some real issues around this. There are a number of backup type services that you can take. Microsoft offers something themselves, an archive platform. But when you actually take Office 365 itself, all you get is the platform and the use of it as a software as service delivery model. So their protection is more of the infrastructure to deliver the service, not your personal data that's in there. Your emails, your contacts, your files, your attachments within those emails, and much more. So some of the key things here is, how do I protect that? And how do I protect it easily? Because there are a number of ways that you could effectively protect those files locally on everybody's PC, so or Mac, actually copying the actual files locally, which can be a bit of a challenge because of the amount of machines you might be having to protect. But one thing that would be really much better is a cloud-based service that can actually look after it, but also delivered as a managed service, so you don't need to even worry about it. So you're not put any software or hardware in place to do this. So what I'm going to do is give you a demonstration of a product or a service we offer called Cloud Protect, which actually gives you the ability to protect all of your Office 365 or even Google's workplace tools as well, because it'll work with both of those. And it keeps all of that data protected locally within the data centers within Google and also within Microsoft. So there's no egress charges for copying that data out as well, because it's kept local. It's also very quick to protect. And what we're doing on the email side is protecting every 4 hours, or we can actually, with an advanced archive capability, do it immediately. So every time a new file a new email comes in, it's protected straight away. So some real benefits. So I'll bring it up and actually show you how it all works with a quick demonstration. So let's bring up on the screen now the screen share. And hopefully you can see that this is our dashboard with our demo facility, which has just got the 4 U's on it at the moment, so we can actually show you how it all functions. So at the top level, we see our users in the dashboard. We see how many seats of the licenses that we're using. We're using 4 out of the 5 licenses we've used for this particular demonstration platform. And across the top above each of those users, we can see the different environments. So email, we can see OneDrive, we can see contacts, calendars, tasks, SharePoint, and also groups and Teams as well, because a lot of people are utilizing Teams. So the messages in Teams are quite important to us, but also if you've actually uploaded and sent files to people through Teams, they're very important to us because there could be things that we might need to recover in the future. Then what we can do is go to each user, and as we go on top of each user, we get a different couple of different options. One is we can view, so we can go in and actually see the email as if we were actually using a web email platform and just go in and see the email. We can restore the whole of the email for that user. We can actually download them. We could keep a couple of options, an EML file or a PST file, and the older style files for Outlook. We can also migrate, so we can migrate all the email from a particular user to another user, or create a new user to put them to. And then finally, we can look at some information about that particular user's email, and also deactivate the backup from it if we don't want to back up in the future, or even delete that user. So the number of things we can do. So what I'm going to do now is drill down into that user, and we can see some emails. And as we go through, we can pick one. So maybe this particular email. So instead of a whole folder or a group of them, in fact, I'll pick a couple of files, a couple of emails, and I want to restore those emails. So what I can do over here is I can click restore. I can restore to the default folder where they are at the moment. I can pick another folder, so I can go through and pick one of my folders from there. Or what I can do is also create a new folder, and I'll call this restored. So it's the restored folder. So it might be that a user has deleted a whole folder, say customer emails or a particular customer name and all the emails within it, and they may not know which ones they need back. So what we can do is use this new folder, start restore, click continue, and it's going to copy them into that folder, so they can then go through each email in that folder and then move across the ones that they want to keep, and then afterwards they can delete the restored folder or just the files within it, so that the folder could be used again for another restore activity. Also, you can give rights to this for each end user to be able to do this themselves, so they can actually go in and restore their own files and folders back to where they were. This is exactly the same for OneDrive. So if I select OneDrive, because I'm in my user at the moment, Lee Cassidy still, I can then go through, I can see folders, I can see files. And again, any one of them, say this particular Open Events folder, I can download or restore again, and I get the same options with the ability to restore the latest version or previous version, and then it'll also give me the ability to restore that to a particular place. So I'll go back up to the dashboard level again, and the other things that we can do are such as contacts. So we can go in and actually see all the contacts for a particular person, and we can actually restore all contacts. We can download all of the contacts, and it'll download all of those contacts in a file for us. And also we can see some information about the contacts, so how many contacts there are, and many other details, including when they were backed up last as well. So quite a few things we can do around the backup and the restoration of those files, folders, and even SharePoint sites. So we can go into an organization's complete site, pick a particular one that we want to do, and then we can go in, either download, restore, or get some information about that particular SharePoint site or team, if it's a team that we've got in there. So coming back to the top again, what I'm going to do now is go down and give you some ideas of the things you can do with this, away from just the backup and recovery of files, because that's one thing, be able to restore files or restore a user, but also you might want to find something. So under the advanced search, we can actually search emails, OneDrive, or SharePoint for a particular email address, to and from a particular file name, a keyword, and we can look in OneDrive as well as emails. So you can actually look for anything across all of the email, and this is based on the rights of the user that's accessing it. So it may be they can search only their own. It may be they can search across multiple users within a particular group, or the whole of the company, depending on the rights of that particular individual. And you can choose the granularity of the roles that you're setting up. We can also look for email attachments. By clicking on email attachments, it's going to go off and actually find all the email attachments that are inside the system. We can also then look for specific types of email attachments. So any attachments that have got a PDF format. We can also look for a specific email address, a specific title on there, and find that as well. So quite quick to find attachments, from a specific person to a specific person, or with a particular name in it. Another thing we can do with this is look at the status of things, so we can see how often the backups have done, and we can see at the moment a backup's been prepared for my account at the moment, but a number of others have completed as we're moving on forward. I say it's going to be done every 4 hours, or sorry, 4 times a day, so about every 6 hours. And then some other things that we can look at is business intelligence. So under business intelligence, what we can do is look at relationships. So we can look over a period of time. So we've got set at the moment 30th June to 7th of July, and showing all relationships. So the larger the blue dot shows that particular user has got more relationships than others. So we can see the relationships that they've got and how that ties in. We can also then change that to say with attachments. So it's going to look at it now based on the relationships where attachments have been sent. We can also look at, say, received or sent as well, and see how different those relationships are, so we can see how it all relates and see how they fit together. So it gives us a good understanding of what's happening with the relationships between our user population, the other users, plus also external participants. Especially if we think there's something untoward happening, we can actually go and have a look and see what's happening against a particular user as well. Another thing we can look at is statistics. So we can see the statistics around email volume, email storage on particular days. We can see information about attachments and the types of attachments, and we can see PDF is the highest number. So there's 10,062 PDF files have come through the system in that period of time that we're looking at. And also we can see who the top receiver or sender of email is. And in this case, it's actually going to be some of our group accounts. So support and help desk are getting much more emails than individuals, because they tend to be email buckets where we send lots of information into them, to see those. So, quite interesting information we can see on the back of that. And then finally, we can look at productivity. So we can see out of our users who's the most productive and doing the most work. So the amount of time sending emails, the volume of that, and it gives us a good feeling then for if people are actually working. So top sender at the moment is Paul Cherry. Top sender to internals, that is, to externals is myself, and we can see what's happening with that each time, and we can then drill down into that information and see more information about each one of them. But it gives us a good understanding of what's happening from a productivity perspective with our email. So a lot more than just backup and recovery. So we're not just protecting that data, we're providing lots of insight into that data, allowing you to quite quickly find email or attachments, files that are in OneDrive or in SharePoint, and also the ability to look at version and version control through such as OneDrive as well. We can give the ability for an individual to recover their own files and search for their own documentation, such as attachments and things in the system. But we can also then give group administrators or top level administrators the ability to do that for a number of users or all users as well. So it gives you a lot of power into protecting and restoring data. But as you've seen, it's really simple to operate. It's all cloud-based. You need no local clients to do this. It communicates directly through the APIs into the Office 365 environment. So there's no integration to do. All you do is give it your credentials to get into your Office 365 environment. It'll automatically create a backup user to be able to communicate into that environment. And after that user, a traditional normal user to be able to access the system. And then we can set roles based on that. We can also use Active Directory integration to integrate into systems, or use directly the Active Directory for the Office 365 environment. So if you're interested in looking at this, we're looking at small numbers of around about £2, £22.50 per month per user. Higher volumes, we can come down to about £2 per user per month. So giving you a lot of protection, a lot of insight into your information, but also a real ease to find files and folders throughout all of your environment using this technology. So if you're interested in it, let us know that you're interested, and we can give you a picture of what we can do for you. Quite happy to set you up with a 15 or 30-day 5-user account to give it a try with a small number of your users and have a test with it. We can also go through with you to show you how it all works. And also, finally, if you decide to go, we would put a customer success person onto your account, and then they would go through the process of bringing you on board you on the system and ensuring you or any other administrators know how to use it, plus also providing some materials for training of end users as well. Hopefully that was of interest to you, and say it's something that's becoming very, very important to a lot of organizations as they move in wholesale into Office 365 or Google's workplace platform, how to protect all that infrastructure, but also trying to get away from the IT staff having to do the recovery process for end users, giving the end users the ability to restore their own files and folders and email as they go forward. A couple of things just to mention. I've got another session on Friday, which is around physical security and environmental. So looking at how cameras can help you understand what's happening within your working environment during the daytime when you're working, plus also at night time when we shouldn't have people there. Both externally, internally, we can provide cameras to do that, but also understanding the environmental side of things. And this is getting much more important now, especially as things like quality is becoming a real issue in the UK. That we can actually measure the air quality index, but also give you some specifics in things like noise level, the amount of particulate matter in the air, the amount of specific compounds that can cause problems, such as benzene and those kind of materials that could be from a leak, from use of a piece of equipment that's spraying it into the air. So you can actually understand who's going to be affected by these problems in the environment, and also linking that to motion activation and using a camera, so you can actually see if people are going to certain piece of equipment. So it might be a computer rack in a particular a distributed site. So you've got a lot of racks to watch. You can have a single camera and a sensor on each, and you can then look for noise and motion, and look on the camera that's linked to that to see who's actually doing that activity. We can also extend that on to providing information about what can be who can access those doors as well, so access control type mechanisms as well. So some quite interesting things we can do. Also, our next big event is on Wednesday, the 28th of July. This starts at 1 p.m. through to 6 p.m. and it's focused around cloud native technologies. So talking about how you can utilize them in your own environment. So building out containers or Kubernetes on your own infrastructure, whether that's utilizing some kind of virtualization platform such as VMware, or if you want to go on bare metal, we can go through all that and how you can do that, including we've got a session talking about how to be up and running on bare metal in 15 minutes with a full Kubernetes environment. We're also got speakers talking about how important cloud native is becoming, and also touching on to hybrid environments and how important hybrid environments are going to be for organizations, where utilizing maybe 2 different cloud providers because of the type of services that are being offered by those cloud providers, but also using infrastructure in your colo or data center environment as well. So some quite interesting pieces there. And we'll have a panel discussion at the end of the day with all of our speakers going through that piece. We've also got a piece talking about utilizing traditional technologies such as Microsoft SQL Server within containers, because most people seem to think that the only way to do containers and microservices for this cloud native environment is using the newer technologies. But actually, you can run things like SQL Server in a container and get higher performance and better granularity with it. And then there's other ways you can actually hook in the back end of that for that persistent data, persistent volumes required within a container space as well. So quite a few things that we can go through. So if you're interested in that, I'll put in the post the site to register. We use the Hopin platform, so you need to be a Hopin user, which is free of charge. You just register with Hopin, and then you can register against the event. And we're also doing some network breakout sessions, 2 of them throughout the event, so you can actually do networking with your peers as well. And what it does, it matches up people with similar interests and things based on your login details when you go in, when you create your profile. If you don't put it in profile, it won't be able to match you more specifically. It'll just put you in with somebody who's looking to network at the event. But we're limited to about 100 seats on that. So if you do want to get a place for that, please register as soon as possible, because it's not that long away now. It's only about 21 days away. So get your name down ready for that event. But thank you very much for joining me today. Hopefully it's been of interest to you around that. If anybody's interested in knowing more about it, please contact me through LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or you can actually drop me an email to lee.cassidy@tactiletechnology.com. Thank you very much.